teach you how to write a closing sentence. So what is a closing sentence? A closing sentence is the last sentence in a paragraph. It also wraps up the paragraph. It can state the main idea again, but make sure you don't just restate your topic sentence. If you do that, it becomes repetitive, and you don't want your paragraph to be repetitive. Closing sentences are the last sentences your reader will read, so you don't want to end with something boring like this. These are the reasons why, and that's why, this is the end of my paragraph, or thanks for reading my paragraph. These endings aren't very creative, and they don't get your reader excited. So you want to make sure you think of more creative closing sentences and that also deal with your main idea. So let's look at a few strategies on how to write a closing sentence. The first strategy we'll look at is using other words to restate the main idea of the topic sentence. So let's say your topic sentence is, fall is by far the best season of the year. In your paragraph, you would explain why fall is the best season. You would give supports and elaborations. Here's an example of a closing sentence that restates the main idea, but again, we don't want to just repeat our topic sentence. There are many wonderful things that fall has to offer, which makes it one of the most enjoyable times of the year. So here, I've stated again that fall is a great season, but I've said it in a different way. Let's look at the second strategy to write a closing sentence. The second strategy is to ask a question that refers to the topic sentence or the main idea of the paragraph. Here's an example. So remember, our topic sentence was about fall being the best season. So here's another example of a closing sentence that asks a question. Who doesn't enjoy perfect temperatures, fun holidays, and beautiful scenery? So here, I've asked a question that gets the reader to think about what it would be like to enjoy fall. I've also restated some of my supports. This is another strategy, but you want to make sure you aren't too repetitive in your closing sentence. You don't want to just list your supports because you've already done that in your perfect paragraph. Here's another tip. Don't just repeat the question that you're answering. So here's a weak closing sentence. What's your favorite season? Well, you were supposed to answer that question. Don't just ask your reader what their favorite season is, because the goal of the paragraph was for you to share what you think. So don't just repeat the question that you were asked. The third strategy to writing a closing sentence is to end with an amusing or positive thought. This takes a lot of creativity. Here's an example. I bet you wish you could fast forward through time so you can enjoy this fantastic season right now. So I'm trying to end on a positive note, getting the reader to think about enjoying fall. Here's another tip. Make sure it refers to the main idea of the paragraph and doesn't start a new idea. Remember, your closing sentence is supposed to wrap up your paragraph, so you don't want to bring up anything really new. Here's an example of a weak closing sentence. S'mores are some of the best foods you can eat when you're enjoying the fall weather. So if that's my last sentence, I would assume that I would keep going and talk about maybe s'mores or why, what s'mores have to do with fall. But in this case, it's my closing sentence, and I'm bringing up something completely new. My paragraph isn't about s'mores, it's about the fall weather. So this isn't a very good closing sentence because it doesn't wrap up the paragraph, it just talks about something new and also a little off topic. So now you can create more interesting and creative closing sentences to end your paragraphs. Remember these 3 strategies so that your closing sentences are more creative and interesting.